Hello guys, welcome to the Trading Parrot. As you can see, in the past few days we are constraining and creating the perfect scenario for another explosive move. We're gonna complete a full week where we are constantly within the range of the 51k to 52k. And particularly when that happens right after an explosive move to the upside, you tend to have most of the time some sort of pullback or sideways. To qualify for an explosive move and to be objective, I'm gonna use Bollinger bands, and you can see that once you get the big green candle outside the range of the Bollinger bands, then you have some cool off, still going up, but not as explosive as this candle. The same goes with this explosive move around here in November, and then some sideways. This explosive move here, exit again, Bollinger band, and this was bearish. So this is a perfect example. You have the three potential outcomes right after an explosive move. And in here we have so many green candles, 1, 2, 3, that are quite large and outside the Bollinger band. And we're just coming inside the Bollinger band. Of course, I mentioned this broadening formation that has two potential outcomes, one of them being holding this as support and continuing towards the 58k. But of course, if we come back below here and we enter this area, there's a high chance that we could continue coming down. In today's video, I want to fully cover what could be coming next based on what lower time frames are saying, based on what currently is going on with the VWAP on Bitcoin and the delta from hyblockcapital. I'm also going to look into FAR charts, which in the 6 months is giving us amazing clues of what's next for Bitcoin. At the end of the video, I'm also going to do a performance review of the past days on the trading bots. Let's start with the 4-hour on the RSI. We've been monitoring this pattern for about a month, waiting for this breakout here. I made a video when we broke out and retested. This hit our conservative target of RSI 50. That happened when Bitcoin came down below here to 50.6. Since then, Bitcoin has done a higher low on the price, but we are still below this trend line. If you look from the distance at these movements of the RSI, this is looking bearish on the 4-hour because you lost the support and you retest this as resistance. There's a few things that is not making, although this pattern is bearish, it's not the most bearish pattern because there's a few elements of it that still makes it quite holding. So I'm not fully convinced yet that this is just going to dump massively right from here. We still don't take this low of RSI 49 that could turn into a double bottom and a potential attempt to take RSI 70 or higher 60. So warning in regards to that. Also, if we look at hyblockcapital, we can see that currently is very flat, but there's a tiny delta putting the shorts at slightly higher risk than the longs. It's not very big. If this was over 500k, 400k, I will be more confident that the next move will be to the upside. But it's kind of balanced. Currently is roughly 100k, so not much delta to say anything. And if you look at the levels of liquidation of the past 7 days on these three exchanges, you can tell that we are in a sandwich of liquidity right at the upside and the downside. And this is typically what happens right before there is a formation for a short-term squeeze. People start placing their bets for over a week within a range that is very tight. The price could take the liquidity to the upside and then crash to the downside, or the opposite. And if we look at the 6 months on FAR charts, you can tell that the vast majority of the liquidity currently is either sitting very close to the price and above the price, meaning that this is ask liquidity, they want to sell, and you have a diminishing liquidity that is wanting to buy at 38k. That diminishing liquidity doesn't mean that they don't think it will hold. It could also be interpreted as traders are starting to lose their hope that they can buy at 38k. That's bid liquidity. If we look at the CBD, you can see clearly that the largest whales, represented by the brown line, were buying very aggressively from December. they were dumped around here and they continue buying. This line keeps increasing and increasing up until the 10th of February. Right after that, there's been some selling and some buying, but there hasn't been a higher high in terms of their buying. That is slightly bearish. There's still not a massive sell from them, but it's showing that they have kind of lost interest in that aggressive buying. If you compare that with the 100K to 1 million whales, the second largest whales, they've been buying as well, but they stopped 1 week after the larger whales, and now they are selling. And who's still buying? Well, the 10K to 100K, those people are buying and they don't seem to have stopped the buying since the beginning. The 1K to 10K and the 100K to 1K, they seem to be all in average only selling. And if we look at the VWAP, and if you watch my video yesterday where I introduced the strategy of using VWAP with Matic, in this case you can tell that the strategy will have worked pretty nicely too. In this case, I'm using two multipliers, 2 and 3. My strategy uses 2, so that means that if you enter here, you will have entered a short. The stop loss will have been placed at this level, the previous candle close of the VWAP, and now you will be in profit coming down. You can tell that the price is struggling to get above the VWAP, meaning that it is in a downtrend. This is a 1 hour time frame, but at the same time, at deviation 2 and 3, people are still willing to buy. You can tell here as well that there's been some liquidations from longs. And if we zoom out a little bit, we might be able to see where is the actual bid and ask. Do we find any blocks? So if I scroll away, you won't be able to see anything. So we need to reduce these numbers here. You can tell that the 45 has been reduced slightly. So we have one level of support with 400K in liquidity at 50.8. Then you have 300 again at 48, and you have 358 at 45. If we keep going away, you're going to find as well that at 37.5, there's another 300. Interestingly, those numbers, 300, are pretty low. So this means that there's not much volume in the market. You can see here that the level of 33.5 was removed. That level does not exist anymore in the order book. And another thing that we can notice is that as the price comes down, you can tell that this ask liquidity of 341, it seems to be moving down with the price. They're hoping for the price to come at these levels of the deviation 1 of the VWAP and try to exit from there or to short. A similar pattern you can see in fire charts when you look at the monthly. As you can see, there is ask liquidity that used to be at 52.9 and now located at 52.6. The fact that the ask liquidity is following the price on the way down is telling me that there is intention to sell and to exit. So for the week to make a fully U-turn and start becoming bullish, we need the price to break out above the VWAP, hopefully to touch the first deviation band of 2 at 52.5, and ideally not just touch it and get rejected, but actually start putting new highs above 52.5, basically holding that level. From the RSI perspective, this seems to be very clear to me that we are forming a channel to the downside while the price has been going higher. It's very likely that we're going to remain in this channel and potentially reset. Make sure that you're subscribed to the channel and hit the like to the video, because that really motivates me to keep you up to date by the hour, putting out short videos in my channel. And on Twitter, you can find me by Trading Parrot handle. Every day there's updates on how things are progressing. Going back to the bots, at the moment, it seems like we are in a local top, so there hasn't been many trades. Some of these bots are looking the same, just like a couple of days ago I gave another update. The two top performers of the month are Messenger and Aphrodita, and they combine, in terms of combined total performance, we have the scalper conservative and aggressive doing the largest amounts. Moonriver has been switched on 2 days ago and so far has made 5%, so still looking really great. Remember that if you want to copy any of these bots for the long term, there's a link in the description that says copy trading bots. You don't need a subscription with TTP to copy any of these bots. These bots are open. They charge a success fee that is deducted from your profits, and that success fee can be reduced 25% if you are a VIP member or higher in the TTP community. As you can see, guys, the VWAP is currently being crossed by the price, so keep an eye on this because our delta might be taken anytime by squeezing those extra shorts in the market. But if this gets rejected around here or even at the band 2 standard deviation, which is this one at 52.5, most likely we're going to then continue going down in this channel, resetting the RSI for hour. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.